Where is the evidence? She said she felt uncomfortable in the dancing scene. Justin Baldoni showed a video from the dancing scene. We couldn't see anything there. She said that he came into her trailer while she was breastfeeding. He showed a text message that she was inviting him in while she was pumping. She said that she felt uncomfortable, that he called her sexy. She used that word all the time in interviews. She said that it made her really uncomfortable when Jamie Heath showed nude photos of his wife. We've seen the photo. We can't see any private parts in the photo. There's nothing.
This is about that narrative that I think they instantly started spinning. I believe that they are going to be able to prove in court that this was personal.
So, you've seen the headlines. Blake Lively, fashion queen, ex-Gossip Girl, and all-around Hollywood darling, is battling a huge lawsuit against her old production partners. At first glance, it sounded like a soap opera for the ages, complete with shocking allegations about harassment, sabotage, and behind-the-scenes drama. Fans grab their popcorn, ready to support the star in her darkest hour. But as new tidbits spill out of the legal pipeline, the story's taking a radical turn that might leave Team Lively scrambling for damage control. Let's just say, the grand plan to claim victim status isn't looking so bulletproof. In fact, it's starting to look downright flimsy. So flimsy you could poke holes in it with one manicured finger. Buckle up, because the tea is piping hot. And here's what her team really doesn't want you to know. First things first. According to Lively, she suffered an environment so toxic that even a Gossip Girl catfight would pale in comparison. She claims it left her practically trembling in her designer heels. Yet, if you peek at the production schedule, she not only finished shooting everything on time, she also took part in final editing and a fairly glitzy promotional tour. Where was the meltdown? Where were the tear-stained exit interviews? By all accounts, she soldiered on like a pro, smiling wide, attending press junkets, and telling fans to watch the film. If someone's truly overwhelmed by harassment, do they usually star in big PR events with the alleged harassers? Probably not. We're not saying bad conditions can't be hidden behind a forced smile, but in a legal sense, harassment has to be severe enough to cripple one's ability to work. The problem? Lively did the job better than ever. She was present, engaged, and, based on witnesses, calling plenty of shots. Defense lawyers are basically tossing up their hands, asking, if she was so miserable, how come she soared through production like it was business as usual? Good luck explaining that one in court. You know how superstars often have their own companies? They sign on to projects as an independent entity rather than an employee. That's allegedly Blake's situation here. As soon as you're not a regular worker, you lose access to some standard employee protections. So, if you're not on the standard payroll, can you actually sue for workplace harassment under typical labor laws? That's the million-dollar question. Word in legal circles is that this arrangement might torpedo her case before it even gets going. She's effectively complaining, "They ignored my rights," while the studio's side is chirping, "You're not our employee." Meanwhile, the studio has troves of documents showing they gave her special treatment well beyond any legal requirement, extra budget for changes, expansions to the script, additional safety measures. You name it. It's like telling your friend you're not crashing at her place while simultaneously demanding she make up the guest room, fix you a 5-course dinner, and fluff your pillows. When a person genuinely feels unsafe or bullied, they typically raise alarms fast, like hitting the call button on an airplane with turbulence. Not our Blake. She finished filming, wrapped press events, and even had months of downtime, only to file a major lawsuit much later. Why wait? If her lawyers try spinning it as she needed time to find the courage, that might be overshadowed by the possibility she saw a strategic advantage in waiting. Insiders hint she might have had a new project on the horizon or realized she needed a PR makeover after certain fans panned her performance. The timing looks suspiciously calculated. Watch all your film obligations end, then drop the lawsuit bomb. Will a jury buy that it took her months to discover that, oh wait, I'm traumatized? That's a tough sell, especially if the defense whips out evidence of her enjoying events, red carpet appearances, and social media posts loaded with positivity in the meantime. Lively also claims that negative buzz surrounding her promotional interviews and, well, her entire marketing plan was the result of a grand sabotage orchestrated by the production team. She says they turned audiences against her by planting seeds that she didn't care enough or wasn't professional. The real question is, why on earth would the studio want to sabotage the star they invested in to lead the film? Sabotaging her is sabotaging themselves, kinda like a chef spitting in his own soup. Even simpler, she's a public figure with a giant fan base and an equally large set of critics. It's not rocket science that people may have disliked how she promoted the movie, or maybe they didn't vibe with her persona, but that's standard celebrity fare. Proving it was some Machiavellian plot to blacken her name is a gargantuan mountain to climb. Where are the incriminating emails or calls ordering internet trolls to swarm? If she can't produce them, her sabotage theory remains just that, a theory. Typically, if you're in an "I'm being harassed" scenario, you'll follow a protocol. Visit HR, call your union rep, file formal complaints, etc. The rumor is that Blake hopped over all those steps like hurdles in a track race and went straight for a big public lawsuit months after the fact. It's basically like skipping the doctor for a broken leg and heading straight to a reality TV show to complain about it. This is a red flag for judges. If you haven't followed your own contract's grievance procedures, then you might be violating your agreement. Or you might not really want to solve it quietly. You might want drama, coverage, and a big settlement. When the defense points this out, it won't look good for her. Did she genuinely seek help from the studio? Or did she store away complaints like ammo, waiting for the perfect time to drop them? Another gaping hole in her argument is that once she did mention feeling unsafe, the production didn't actually brush her off. They responded in ways that some call excessive, but okay, sure. She got extra oversight, restructured scenes, and even cast changes. Whatever it took to keep her content. By all accounts, the atmosphere on set improved drastically. Filming finished without further complaints. Does that sound like a studio that refused to accommodate her? No. So it's going to be tricky for her to argue in court that nothing was done. If anything, they might have done more than they had to. Most importantly, if the environment was truly horrifying, wouldn't she have walked away? Instead, she stayed and thrived creatively. This big mismatch between her lawsuit's claims and reality is basically screaming plot twist. The defense's juiciest rumor. Blake used the specter of harassment to get bigger creative privileges. Every time she got a no, she'd mention feeling targeted or unsafe. Next thing you know, she'd get her script changes or new hires. Coincidence or cunning negotiation? If the studio has a timeline linking each harassment claim to fresh demands from Team Blake, that's not going to look pure as the driven snow. Courts take legitimate harassment claims very seriously. If they find out it was basically leveraged for script rewrites, that's definitely not a good look for our star. It doesn't just unravel her credibility, it also trivializes real harassment, and juries hate that. Think of it like Crying Wolf, except the wolf is wearing Gucci and filming a high-budget romance. Not a scenario that typically wins sympathy points. Then there's the COVID angle. She apparently complained the set was lax about safety and that she felt exposed. But paparazzi and social media posts show her gallivanting in stadium crowds, sometimes mask-free, attending events like life was sunshine and rainbows. So, was she actually worried about catching anything, or was it just another bullet point to fling at the studio? For a jury, this inconsistency can feel like all talk, no walk. If you claim the production's environment was terrifyingly unsafe, yet you yourself were out partying like it's 1999, that claim shrinks pretty fast. In lawsuits, you typically need to prove you suffered actual harm, financial, emotional, or otherwise. But it looks like Lively got her paycheck and more, even controlling bits of the final product. The movie made money, she got the credit, and from the outside, it seemed like a win for everyone. So did she truly suffer any financial blow? If she's basically claiming that negative social media posts or critiques damaged her psychologically, that's a tough argument in Hollywood. Celebs face backlash all the time. My feelings got hurt on Twitter usually doesn't equate to legal damages. She also claims her reputation was destroyed. But guess what? She's been in the public eye for years. She had a fraction of fans who adored her, and plenty of critics long before this film. Proving that any reputational dip is solely due to the studio is borderline impossible. The defense will note that fans can love or hate a celebrity for countless reasons. If she didn't like what people said about her interviews, that's not automatically the studio's fault. Behind every lawsuit, there's a motive. Ask yourself, why would the production team want to take down their star actress? They invested huge sums in her success, so sabotaging her is self-defeating. Meanwhile, could it be that Lively felt she wasn't getting enough money or recognition after the film's success? Some say yes, that she was miffed about not earning bigger bonuses or a producer credit. Then, once critics found her marketing efforts lackluster, she may have needed a scapegoat. Now, if she were able to produce a smoking gun email that says, "Yes, let's ruin her career for giggles," that'd be one thing. But apparently no such email has materialized, so she's stuck implying a secret plot with no direct evidence. Hard to see a jury buying into that. Motive is everything. It's far easier to believe an actress wanted more money and attention than a whole film crew deciding to sabotage their own star. Between the timeline, the avalanche of studio documents, and her own contradictory behaviors, Blake Lively's case is looking shakier by the day. She claims terrifying abuse but completed the film in style. She claims sabotage but can't show a smoking gun. She says she was powerless, yet evidence suggests she dictated plenty of changes and soared through final production phases. And she never used official complaint routes before her big, showy lawsuit, always a huge no-no for judges. Add in questionable COVID claims, and the suspicion she used allegations to gain creative control. And it's pretty clear why insiders are rolling their eyes. This is exactly the scenario her team doesn't want you to see. It's not about a moral crusade, it's about a shaky legal drama with more holes than Swiss cheese. Unless some gargantuan piece of evidence magically appears, a dismissal or an embarrassing defeat in court seems all but certain. The glitz and glam might fool fans on Instagram, but a judge won't care about star power. Courts want facts, consistent timelines, and actual proof of wrongdoing. Right now, the only thing stacking up is a big, fat question mark over her motives, method, and meltdown. In short, Blake Lively's lawsuit is falling apart faster than a poorly crocheted sweater. She might sparkle on the silver screen, but these revelations could tarnish her rep if the legal pushback keeps piling up. And if you suspect her team is cringing as every new detail hits the spotlight, you're probably on the money. They'd love nothing more than for all this to vanish, but it's not disappearing anytime soon. The studio's prepared to fight, the court demands evidence, and so far, Team Lively's biggest weapon is mere speculation. In Hollywood, that might drum up some headlines. In court, it could be the final nail in the coffin.